Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. We are inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. We're getting closer to the start of the football season. Week 0 this weekend. But may I remind you, week 0 gets going with night 0. Friday, Bond Brothers East Side in Cary. $10 gets you OG Light and access to the Felder Show.
Ooh.
$10 gets you OG Light and Matt Brown dropping extra points knowledge so you have a better idea of what the hell's happening with the house settlement and dropping everything else. So you understand what's going on with the future of college athletics. That's all going on Friday. Bond Brothers East Side in Cary. Speaking of house settlements, NIL, the future of college athletics.
97X. Bang, bang, the future of rock and roll.
Bubba Cunningham, athletics director at North Carolina, virtually sat down with us for about 30 minutes yesterday. So this conversation took place yesterday.
It was quite a ride for Lawrence.
I mean, I think by now he understands that when he agrees to join us on the podcast, that it's going to be for a little bit of a ride. But I think you nailed it with, you know what, it's 8:30 in the morning. Maybe the coffee hasn't kicked in. But we woke him up. I do wonder when the audience will see when the PTSD kicked in for Bubba Cunningham with one thing that Joe said. But that's neither here nor there. So it's about a 30-minute conversation. All jokes aside, we always appreciate Bubba's time, and I thought he provided a lot of insight as to what's going on at UNC with Carolina North, that project that could be the future home of basketball. I thought his answers related to the ACC and the SEC and the financial model that's about to kick in was interesting as well. So all of that over the course of 30 minutes, which let's go ahead and start with that now. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is current athletics director at North Carolina, Bubba Cunningham. I say current because clock's ticking till you get the red stapler and they put you in special projects, right?
The red stapler. I haven't heard that one. Looking forward to that. Boy, okay. Well, I do.
I was going to say, have you ever seen Office Space?
I still got my black stapler.
Office Space.
I don't think Bubba's exit and our exit are the same.
No, probably not. Probably not. Now, let's keep it weird. Let's keep it going this way. I know Holden Thorpe, former chancellor at North Carolina, is a listener to this podcast, so I'll give him a sci-fi reference. I want you to hop into the Klingon bird of prey, go warp around the sun to go back in time. I want 2025 Bubba Cunningham to go back to 2011 when you took the job. And you're stepping off the podium after your introductory press conference, and you stop and you're like, hey, man, we got some things to talk about because what's happening right now, it ain't what's happening in 2025. What's the first thing you're telling 2011 Bubba Cunningham?
Oh, man. Great question. Yeah. It's still college athletics continues to change. And we've, like every other school, Carolina's had a lot of things change institutionally, but the industry's changed more so in the last 5 years than the previous 10. And it's just, you've got to be ready for change. Change is going to continue to happen. It's just very, very different than it was back then. Back then in 11, it was, we were just coming off NCAA case with agents and amateurism. And now we're sitting here saying, really it'd be a lot more helpful if our student athletes had agents. Mm-hmm. So it just completely changed in 15 years relative to representation. But I still, and I know it's kind of corny, but the purpose of what we do is just providing kids an opportunity to play sports and come to college. That hasn't changed. The economic model's changing, but if you can keep the education at the foundation of what you do, the other things are going to work itself out. And it'll take longer than we expected, and there'll be fits and starts to it, but overall, it's going to work out.
In fairness, it's 8:30 and it's early, right? That's what I'm getting at right now. And also, in fairness, I have no idea what Ovies is talking about when he gets into Star Trek. But come on now, man. Come on now, Larry. The first thing you tell 2011 Lawrence is, now, wait a second. Is it an impermissible benefit if other students benefit from this class? That's the first thing you tell 2011 Larry, because then you save a bunch of money for the University of North Carolina that you'd have right now.
Oh, you want to go back to all that? You boys.
That's how it started.
It's quaint. It's quaint.
But you were,
we talk about
you were knee deep in this thing for 6 years, man. That's crazy.
True. That's true. But before I got here, the athletic administration went to the NCAA and said, we have a problem.
Yeah.
And the NCAA said, that's not our problem. That's your problem with your accreditor. And that's the way it stopped. Transition the NCAA in the enforcement division, hire a new person and say, we want to reopen the case. And we said, you can't do that. You've already done it once.
Mm-hmm.
We spent 6 years throwing mud at each other, and they came to the exact same conclusion that the staff did 6 years prior. It wasn't an NCAA issue. It was an accreditation question. And it fundamentally came right back to the question of, if these classes count for graduation, how can they possibly not count for athletic participation? It's the way it was.
It's 8:30, man. I got you.
Yeah, 8:30. And that was 6 years of mudslinging for no reason.
Like, that's what you should be thinking about. Like, go warn that guy in 2011 about that, because you could avoid a lot of that. But I mean, it does feel like you have two different tenures here. The first 6 where you're dealing with that, and that had to have been, looking back at it now, and I get it. You got 2 more years, but when we retire, we mark an ending, and we kind of go back and we look at how things went. And I'm kind of curious. You came in. Man, they hired John Swafford when he was like 30 to be the AD. And then Dick Bedore, who was a lifer who worked for John. There was a lot of entrenchment there, and there was a lot of success there. Let's not get it wrong. That it was a model, it was a paragon of success in college athletics. But you come in as kind of this outsider, right? Notre Dame, Tulsa, Ball State. And I got to imagine it was tough for you to come in there and kind of establish and say to them, no, here are some different ideas that we need to employ, but also integrate all of that success that they had before. So I got to imagine that those first few years for you had to have been maybe more of an adjustment than you had anticipated.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do. And, everyone here was on edge because we'd never had an NCAA issue, and we did. We had agents and amateurism. We were guilty of those things. And then the academic thing just continued, had such a long tail to it. It was a challenge at that time. But, the change is still there. I mean, we had our all staff meeting yesterday, and we continue to talk about change. We're going to continue to evolve in the next 2 or 3 years. It's going to be uncomfortable. And, we've done some things here in the last 6 months of, hiring a chief revenue officer. We've hired an executive associate AD that will become the AD next summer. We've done things that we haven't done before because we see the change coming. Obviously, the biggest sea change we've had is hiring Bill Belichick, the most successful coach of all time, 8 Super Bowls. It's different. Our game day is going to be different. So we're trying to put ourselves in the best position possible to go forward. And, it was thrust upon us 15 years ago because of some missteps we took. Now we're trying to create our own future by the proactive steps that we're taking.
It's interesting. Giglio brings up you coming to North Carolina, having not been in the Carolina family, so to speak, or a lot of establishment that had been there, but you were still a college guy, right? Jim Phillips, he wasn't an ACC guy, but he's always been a college guy. But right now, when you're looking at the landscape of college athletics, the people who are coming in are not college guys. They are coming from outside industries and then applying that knowledge to what's going on in college. So you talk about changes, right? I got to imagine that these changes are probably even more difficult to get across to people. So that gets us to the new AD that's coming in and Steve Newmark and this transition that's taking place. So it just in your conversations with him, since he's now, wearing Carolina blue, and I saw you and him at ACC kickoff walking around as he's getting the lay of the land and he's getting to know all these people. what is the reception to a true outside college person trying to apply some, non-traditional things to where Carolina's going next?
Yeah. I think it's a great question, but that's why we're having the year overlap.
Mhm.
I do think if I were to walk out or had walked out, July 1, he comes in July 1. Now all of a sudden you've got a whole new way to operate. He's an associate AD right now, learning intercollegiate athletics. And really a lot of his responsibility are what are the relationships with football and basketball and rev share and NIL, and how do we continue to grow the revenue so that we can support the two that are generating all the money and maintain the other sports that need to be subsidized. And so then a year from now, he can take over the whole thing, but it gives us a year for him to assimilate into college athletics while bringing his business expertise and professional sport expertise to what we're currently doing. So it's not quite the normal transition, but I think it's going to be healthy for the organization. I think it'll be helpful for him to understand it from a years long experience and then start to implement some changes they think is appropriate for us.
I heard you use the words succession plan with Jones and Adam. I was like, oh, Bubba, your fans don't like that. They didn't like it when a certain coach down the road did that the final year of his Mike Krzyzewski over at Duke. Your fans were up in arms about that succession plan and making sure the guy was in place to follow him. So I just want you to be careful when you use those words with your people. I look out for you. The Wolf Blood has to look out for you. You know this.
I appreciate that.
But your transition, what do you see now as this special advisor? I got two things written down here that I think you'll be working on, but I'm curious as to what you're mapping out for these next 3 years, excuse me.
So what do you have written down? What are the two things?
Which one would you like first? I heard you say Carolina North, and I put that through the translator. That's where I think you would prefer your basketball building to be. Speaking of things you've been working on for a really long time.
Yeah, but there's not a real preference there. But Carolina North, we're going to develop Carolina North.
Okay.
5,000 additional students over 10 years. We have that property out there. It's been ready to go for a number of years. We're currently taking some graduate housing on campus and converting that to undergraduate and moving some graduate housing to Carolina North. I also think there's a big opportunity up there for some other housing for the community that we need up in that area, more low-cost housing. And so I think some of that will go up there as well. And then the question about the basketball arena is still on the table. Do we renovate what we have? Do we build new on campus? Do we build new up there? And that decision hasn't been made yet. So we have some, we've got to think through that and figure that out. But whether or not the basketball arena goes up there, I do think developing that property, whether it's for intercollegiate athletics or recreational athletics, either way, I think I can assist up there.
If you're exploring new ways to make money, which you always are, and this has been something that you and I have talked about the future of the basketball building as long as you've been here, I think.
Yeah.
You're leaving revenue on the table with the Smith Center. I think you've probably preached that behind closed doors to the people who have some sort of romantic affection towards your basketball building being on campus. But this, if we're in a world now where you're trying to explore how do we maximize our revenue, that building, you're leaving money on the table. Quite frankly, this.
To me, there's one option. It's the Carolina North. I mean, if we're looking at where athletics is going, I read you get like 6 different options, including
you got like bedrock issues at the Smith Center.
Yeah, there's also like
you got a whole world of complicated problems. I get that. I'm oversimplifying. I get that. I appreciate that.
And we are editorializing, but if we understand where college athletics is going, Carolina North seems like the no-brainer, right?
It's an option, but I do think if everyone said, hey, what's the best thing for basketball or what's the best thing for your athletic program, have them all right near the students, right in the center of campus. Is it realistic to do that when you're 20,000 people 18 times a year, when you're right next to a hospital? I mean, those are all the logistical things that you're saying, the emotional thing. And what's great for building a sense of community is having that stuff in the center of campus. So you're going to have a trade-off of how do you get there? What are the amenities? What are the costs? And then try to figure out what is the best plan as you move forward. So again, there's still possibilities, and we're working through that economically to see what's the best way to go.
All right. So number 2 is, what is the future of North Carolina and their conference affiliation?
I think the ACC has been great. Now, obviously, the lawsuit settled, and that created a revenue sharing model that's completely different than anything we've had before. I think it's, we've had some comments about, hey, these are, it drops by $18 million a year. By 2030, it's $75 million instead of what it is today. We're contracted through 35. That's all a good thing to talk about. But until you experience what's going to happen financially, I think what we've set up for, and particularly with this coaching staff, that we can make a lot of money in the ACC that certainly closes any gap between the SEC and the Big Ten. And so I think for the top end schools in our league, I think it's great. And I was reading just the other day, I think Whit Babcock was talking about the other leagues are going to do that. And I think he's right. There's the teams at the top end of a league want to be compensated differently than the teams that just don't have the same following. Again, we're doing it as a department, right? I've said it. We're going to pay the footballs and basketballs a fair amount of money, and the rest we're trying to subsidize. Well, the same goes for our league. The teams at the top are supporting the league, and you're like, gosh, how long do we have to subsidize people at the bottom? I mean, it's unfortunate. That's not the way college athletics has been for the last 25 or 30 years, but it's a new direction that we're headed.
Would you say the leadership at Carolina has an open mind about the future in the ACC as opposed to having just tunnel vision for the SEC?
Yes. Yeah. The league has been good for us. The financial model is changing. What do you experience the new financial model, see how that works, and then give some thoughtful consideration to the future.
And if football is a big part of that, the access to the playoff has to be included in that math, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. I know I'm not asking you to speak for Clemson and Florida State. I'm asking you to speak specifically for Carolina. It just seems like we had Jim Phillips on. We talked to Jim. I complimented Jim, and people were like, "Oh no, he made a terrible deal." And I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, Bubba just laid it out.
Yeah,
other conferences are going to do this.
So. Because I do. I agree. I think at some point the SEC is going to sit here and go, "Hey, Vanderbilt, awesome, love you. You're great in baseball and underwater basket weaving, but I need you to contribute in football."
But you're focused on the conference too. But I think we have to think about what's going on in Indianapolis. So we just changed the governance structure. We're eliminating 180. Or I don't know how many different committees we're getting rid of, and we're going to sport-specific legislation and sport-specific decision making.
Yeah,
what does that lead to over time? Where do the conferences fit? If we have a baseball league or a baseball or any other of our sports, maybe it's going to be more sport-specific and less conference-specific. So I think both of those things are going to be tied together, not to mention what's going on in Washington relative to any kind of congressional intervention. We got the executive order. I think, by 2030, college athletics could look very, very different. So we're asking that question in 2025, given what we've known to this point. We don't know what the future looks like and what conference affiliation does. Is there consolidation to smaller leagues? Is there consolidation by sport? We really don't know the answer to that because we're driven by court decisions right now.
That's why I started the conversation with you in a jokey manner, obviously, but it does show you how quickly things can change. And what we thought was the end of the world, we just have a shoulder shrug now, right? Like you were talking about agents and things like that. Well, look at us now. Nobody could have expected that.
Robert Quinn had a really expensive watch.
Oh my goodness.
It's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world. Now here we are, right? So I find it kind of interesting that we're projecting what is currently now into 2030, 2035 without knowing. But I do think there's a through line through all of this. And I think every AD and every university is going through it. Boo Corrigan and NC State talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You mentioned Whit Babcock. I went through the PowerPoint presentation, or as the professionals call it, his deck. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we all know these things. It's a chicken or the egg. What was the line that Whit had? Our budget does not meet our expectations.
Our resources does not match our expectations.
I'm pretty sure that 99% of schools feel this way, but they're in a different element of what they have to deal with what you're dealing with. So when you're looking at future projections and you're looking at it takes money to make money and things like that, the next step is to get people to engage with you, to get people to show up to football games with Bill Belichick. And I get that things are sold out and all that stuff. But we've been doing this long enough to know that you've had all sorts of activations to get people there. The curiosity that I have is, what do college kids want right now? Like, how do you get them to show up consistently? We can talk about Carolina North all day, and I've read the vision of multi-use and, you know, going out and shops and all this other kind of stuff. But that costs money, and college kids don't exactly have a lot of money right now, and they might not want a bus out there when they can just hang out at home. So how do you get your future fans who are going to commit to the university to buy in while they're there when everything seems very stratified right now?
Yeah. Well, I think the best way to create a fan base is to win. I mean, as I've said this many times, I mean, the only group that's kind of perfected losing are the Cubs. They continue to sell out, and they've had some good years. I don't say that, but for many, many years, they were just not good. People still wanted to go. So, but, you know, in football, if we're winning 6, 7, 8 games, that's not going to be enough to sustain a high fan base. You know, I get that. We've got to win 8 to 9 to 10 to 12 games on a fairly consistent basis. Okay, well, there we go. We got something going. So Clemson, you know, if you look back, Clemson 15 years ago, they weren't drawing what they're drawing.
Yeah.
But they've been consistently good now for 10 years. And we have to get to that level of performance. We got 21,000 seats in basketball, and we fill it because we've been consistently good in basketball. And we need to maintain that consistently high level of performance. If we do that, I do think we'll attract the crowd, whether it's a renovated Smith Center, a new one on campus, or something at Carolina North.
One thing I thought was interesting in your conversation with Adam and Jones, you mentioned that Steve Newmark was part of a advisory committee to hire Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was on this advisory committee?
Oh,
how many people were on the advisory committee?
Oh, you know, there probably 6 or 7 or 8.
Do you? I'm about to ask you like an uncomfortable, honest question right now, and I apologize in advance. Carolina, I think more than any other school, loves to play this game, and this goes way back. This is before you.
This predates you.
This predates you, but they love to play the game of, yeah, but like Roy Williams was hired, yeah, but Dean Smith was really the one who hired him. Like Dick Bedore doesn't get credit for hiring Roy Williams, right? And it's like, oh, okay, I guess, right? Like Mac Brown, like when you brought Mac Brown back. Well, no, he Bubba didn't bring him back. The boosters are the ones who want the 6 boosters that Mac Love brought him back. Hubert Davis is hired. Well, you didn't hire Hubert Davis. Roy Williams really hired Hubert Davis. And now the latest with Bill Belichick is, well, no, Bubba didn't hire him. You know, either Lee Roberts or, you know, the Phantom Board of Trustee reached out and hired him. And I'm just kind of, it's a hard mental process to go through. And certainly Carolina's not alone in this. Everyone has their own Kremlin politique, right? But I'm just wondering from your perspective, if you could shed maybe a little bit of light of how the Belichick process perhaps went, because it really was, to me, out of left field. It was like a fever dream, right? Like, hey, maybe we can get the winningest coach Super Bowl history to come be Carolina's football coach, right?
Yeah.
Not that you want credit, and I'm not setting you up for you to be like, yeah, it was me. I'm just saying it just always feels like with Carolina, it's like the AD never gets credit, whether it's you, whether it's John, whether it's Dick.
Well, I've always said when you're trying to hire a coach, the thing you're looking for is fit. And the best way to try to figure out what's the best fit for us is to get a lot of people to give you opinions and thoughts about where are we today, where we're trying to head, and how do you best find somebody that tries to get you along that path. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me who gets quote unquote credit for anything. The idea is we're doing this together. I mean, the biggest thing that we can do as a department is be aligned with the rest of the university and align where do we think we're headed and what's our best path to get there. And that's what we do. And, you know, whether it's Bill Belichick or Aaron Matson, you know, who's the best fit for us at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So I don't know. It's a really soft answer, I guess, but I think it's the reality of where we are.
All right. I'll ask a more pointed question then. How does Bill Belichick fit? I get Aaron Matson. Interesting you bring up Aaron Matson as an example here. Or, you know, Joe's wearing the Carolina soccer shirt today, right?
Well, Damon was there 7 years.
Damon, that seems like that sounds like a fit. how does Bill Belichick fit? He never coached in college. He's got his Super Bowls. I get all that kind of stuff, but there's a learning curve on top of trying to get Carolina good quick. So how does that fit exactly?
Well, I think what we've said is, how are we going to maximize the revenue in this new model of the ACC? And how do we think we can sustain athletic success in football?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hire the best coach possible. And so you go hire an 8-time Super Bowl champion and say, okay, can he build the foundation for us to continue that path so that we're consistently good? Can we do, quite frankly, what Clemson did 15 years ago? Totally different. I get it, from the GA or whatever Dabo was back then to, I don't know if he's a receivers coach. I have no idea. What was he before he was a head coach?
He's a receivers coach. Yeah.
I mean, absolutely fantastic. And quite frankly, no one wanted to hire him.
No.
And so he gets the job. So in Bill's case, hey, we're bringing this guy in, and we have a whole different model of where we're headed. And we're hoping this is going to put us to that next level and then continue to even get better from that.
Before we let you go, one more hard one for you. Because, I'll be honest, man, I don't always get your standard over there. Like I spent a whole lot of time defending Hubert Davis last year. Obviously, I have I'll call it a friendship with Roy Williams, so I kind of understand the basketball side. But your fans love to tell me, no, you don't get it. Like, that's not good enough. So how do you enter this season? Because now it's a little bit complicated, right? Like, it's your last year. It's Steve's first year. But as well as anyone else, how passionate your fans are about men's basketball. And I would look at it like, well, here's a guy who's been to the championship game, won the ACC, been a number 1 seed, been to the Sweet 16. And I would say, those are all good things. But I'm just a stupid fucking State fan, okay? I'm not a Carolina fan, right? I'm not a Carolina fan. Carolina fan looks at it, and they're writing articles about how Dean Smith went to the Sweet 16 100 years in a row. They're writing articles about never finishing in the top 3 in the ACC. So I don't have that same perspective. I'm curious your perspective now, because this is a complicated one. Nothing you do is easy, by the way. Maybe I should put the shirt on. From the NCAA case to, like, now the Smith Center to Mac, Fair Mac, and
Do we want to talk about Bubba's 2024?
Yeah, I mean, like, your 2024 was, my goodness. We gotta send you a Blanton's. If you are a brown liquor kind of guy, I gotta send you something. But I'm curious, how do you enter this basketball season? Because there's probably a decent portion of your fan base that looks at this as a make or break year for Hubert, like a DEFCON 2, if you will, for Hubert. So how do you go into this season as someone who also hired Hubert?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there, obviously, and entering his 5th year, and there's been a lot of transition, a lot of change. So Hubert did not have any head coaching experience. He'd been an assistant coach. He played for an incredible number of coaches, been an assistant coach here for 9. Has a great first year. Then we're not in the tournament. Then we have a great second year. So we've been too much up and down for our fan base. Well, too much up and down for our program, quite frankly, and for our fan base. But we've also gotten into NIL, which was brand new when he took over the job. What we have been historically really good at are recruiting high school kids that develop into outstanding players. We've had a few that leave right away, one and dones or a couple of years and out. But by and large, our best teams have been ones that kids have developed throughout their tenure. Transfer portal enters. We're still recruiting high school kids. We've done okay in the transfer portal. We've had some misses. We've had some hits. It's just been more inconsistent. Now you got rev share on top of that this year. So we've pushed a lot of money, as you well know, into our men's basketball program. We need to be more consistent and consistently at a high level. And the inconsistency, I think, is what's driving people crazy. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're looking forward to this year, a great roster, be more competitive from start to finish, and then finish really strong.
It's interesting you mentioned the budget dynamics. I'm pretty sure that most athletic departments and the House settlement and how they dole out the cash is like a 75% going to football, but not at UNC. What was it? I think it's like you're like hovering around 65% or in that area. And then the next chunk of it's going to basketball, because I think that, again, illustrates the differences at UNC versus other schools. As much as you want to be good at football, basketball still stirs the drink.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've got the simple math on it. So that you leave the media rights aside.
Mm-hmm.
We have 50,000 football seats, and we have 6 or 7 games a year. We've got 18 to 20 basketball games with 20,000 seats. So we actually almost sell the exact same number of tickets in football and basketball. There's very few schools that do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, if you're going to get into this revenue sharing model, that if you generate revenue, you should share in it. It seems to me that you should do that within your own department, not just necessarily what the settlement was, but who's generating the money here. Then you ought to get it. And that will change over time as well.
Yeah. Bubba Cunningham, athletics director at North Carolina. Congratulations on, I know your career is not ending, it's continuing, but a chapter of your career is ending. Congratulations on that. You've done a hell of a lot of good work. As I jokingly mentioned, 2020
years.
We could go 30 minutes. We could go another 30 minutes on just 2024 alone, how it started and how it ended.
Well,
we'll
set you free. Don't worry.
So that's another conversation for another day, because I'm sure we'll have another one. I hope you put up with our crap, so we appreciate that.
Are you a brown liquor drinker or no?
Yeah. What do you want?
It depends. It depends on when and what's going on.
Okay. Well,
Well, I got 2 things for you. I've got a Blanton's and a Roback for you. Then
you don't want this for the office?
There you go. Oh, I could use that. I'm going back to your original question. What would I tell myself back in 2011?
2011. Yeah.
I should not have majored in accounting. I should have gone into political science, psychology, and then on to law school.
Get out now.
No, you should have majored in accounting but just been a CPA.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you people are worth your weight in gold.
Yeah.
You should just retire and run numbers, man.
I appreciate the time. Always good to talk to you guys. And love the picture, love the shirt. You guys are too much.
Hey, man, we'll see. Well, I was gonna say, just tell Steve we're okay, man.
He did. He took care of us.
Just tell him we're okay. Okay. We don't bite. All right. Thanks, Bubba.
All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you.
Housekeeping.
We'll provide some reaction to our conversation with Bubba Cunningham here after housekeeping, which of course is brought to you by Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
I'm going to give you a knuckle-dragging dude bro tip. With football right around the corner and you're telling your family, peace the hell out. I cannot be reached. I'm too busy watching football. And you're like, yeah, but you said you'd clean the house. Pro tip, just call Inovana. Even for a one-time cleaning, they got you covered so that you can kick your feet up and just watch football and abdicate all your duties in the house. Inovana will do it for you. So check them out, inovana.com. I mentioned Night Zero at the start of the show. After Night Zero, with Week Zero, we've got the Sports Podcast Festival at the Rialto in downtown Raleigh. We're going to be there. Big Screen Sports is going to be there. That's going to be a good time. And of course, the headliner, Split Zone Duo, or is the headliner?
It's the new merch.
The exclusive access to hats.
Look, tell me that doesn't taste like 1994 Walnut Creek sweat and old beer.
This is fake ID. That's what this is. That's what this is. Fake ID.
I didn't think I could ever get you to wear a rope hat. I actually think you would wear that.
I would wear this hat. I might wear it on Saturday.
And look at the side. I don't even know if you noticed the side yet.
It says the Champagne of Podcast, and it's done in a stitching that's very reminiscent of Mickey ears.
Yeah.
So Michael knows what he's doing.
He does.
So you have access to this hat. We have access to other hats as well.
All of the game hats. So I took care of you. I did Tar Heels.
Mm-hmm.
I did Pirates and Wolfpack.
Amazing.
I also did, because I know you think I hate Duke, and I kind of sort of do, but
jeez,
the best original OG Media one that I made, the original script, the Raider script.
Yeah.
It is actually the Duke one. It's actually really nice. And there's a Carolina one that's white with the Carolina blue.
Nice.
Original.
Nice. So we will have access to these hats
and the Triangle Goods
at the Rialto
for the youths, the upside down backwards. Yeah.
So we'll have access to that at the Rialto on Saturday.
No, we're legitimately selling those.
Home field is going to be in the house with the long sleeve shirts as well. We'll have OG Light. Our friends at the Butcher's Market will be there providing food. It's going to be a good time. If you haven't purchased your tickets, go right now to Rialto.com and go by and hang out with us on Saturday night and drink coffee.
I'm going to need coffee. Yeah, it's going to be a late night for me.
My mom's offer to make Cuban coffee still stands.
Okay, perfect. We'll put a shot of Tito's in that.
I'm seeing my parents later today.
Okay,
so I'll say like, hey, can you bring a thermos of Cuban coffee for
That's
Joe?
a good call.
Okay,
that's a good call.
That will I might even need it too.
Yeah.
So again, go to Rialto.com. Speaking of housekeeping and where things are going, YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very, very close to 10,000 subscribers. You know me. I don't get too caught up in vanity metrics, but I do love round numbers. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, not that one. This one.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
We got so many jingles and new jingles on the way.
Bud has got us. You're going to have to help him technology.
I can't keep track. So here's the deal. When we get to 10,000 subs on YouTube, real subs, I might add, then you will get the Happy Inhale Black Card that gets you 20% off for life. I had a smoothie, Monday. Very good. Time and place, man. Use the app, pick up and go. If you haven't used the app yet and you want to save 25% right now, use the promo code OG25 when you use that app and you can pick up and go. But in the meantime, let's get to 10,000 subs so I stop bothering you about it. And then somebody can win that Black Card from Happy Inhale. All you got to do is screen grab the fact that you're 10,000 and send it to us. The OG goes digital at gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram.
I noticed you didn't try to pimp the mailbag or OG on business $5 a month deal there, because I think after our previous episode where I had the ADHD episode that you were like, no, I can't have you distracted anymore with these green comments from people sending us money and noting that they are full-time members now.
Speaking of YouTube, I had a little bit of downtime yesterday, so I added to the custom emoji set.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at the custom emoji set, you will see a full head of hair version of me.
Okay.
From our friends
Christian
at Color Graphic.
Yep.
Your whatever hair thing's going on with you. So you got the two floating head emojis.
All right, I like that.
We have. I actually sent you one of those emojis to you and to Bubba Cunningham when I thanked them via text for joining us, and it was the epitome of triangle good.
Yeah.
The high-fiving Ramses and Tuffy.
Yes.
So that's a custom emoji. I also have Best Buds, which is the one we're proud of you, the 82, 83 shirt, arms, embraced, right? That's a custom emoji. You've got the drunk owl. You've got our keg stand friends that Michael put together.
Yeah.
Also, I added one too. I need your suggestions for the custom emoji set. I put in acceptable and it's sad Mike Krzyzewski. But Ethan Hyman, sad Mike Krzyzewski photo.
Unacceptable. Got you.
Is there a shit be happy we won?
Gotta be.
With a Dave Doran? Right? Just be happy or happy?
Ben might have one for us for Diamond Dave.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So regardless, we got these custom emoji sets. It's all part of your YouTube membership. Just $5, $5 a month. It gets you OG on business. It gets you the mailbag and ridiculous custom emoji sets that you can use on YouTube.
So we're mailbagging this week.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm playing RCC this week.
Okay.
So we got to.
What time?
Our P's and Q's.
What time do you want to record on Friday?
We'll record on our usual time.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that I'm
on a time.
Very busy Friday.
Do you have your rowback picked out for Friday?
Okay, so in all fairness here,
yeah,
I'm currently wearing my personal favorite rowback, and this is my favorite one.
Solid color one, yeah.
It's just the plain navy, because I was like, man, these guys, I didn't even know they made just plain navy.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Glenn and Color Graphic, he sends me a text. Hey man, the App State gear is finally out. I've been waiting this whole time to use my OG promo code for App State. And you know how I feel about App State. I can't stand App State.
There's so
I
don't get it.
I respect App State, but I can't stand App State. But if these aren't the best things that they've made, it's damn close. That hoodie is That's a winner.
That's good.
And then the game day with the sons of Yosef there, man, and the pennant and the stadium and the A and woo. That's fire.
So go to rowback.com, use the promo code OG20 if you haven't done it yet. Or if you're an App State fan who has, just make another email. Like Yosef's burner. Actually, I think that's a Twitter account. Yosef's burner at hotmail.com.
The game day for all of our teams, because that's the one I sent Bubba, the UNC game day.
Yeah. All good stuff.
State game day is a good one.
It's all fantastic stuff. So go to rowback.com, use that promo code OG20. With the football season right around the corner, you want to make sure your grill is in tip-top shape, whether it's your outdoor grill at home or it's the big barrel smoker you take into the tailgate, right? You want to make sure it's clean and in optimal conditions. NC Grill Rescue is going to be the ones to help you out with that. So go to ncgrillrescue.com today. You will be shocked at how clean your grill. Like you thought, like the little sprays and some scrubbing and the wire brush. No. It's like getting a brand new grill when it's your old trusty grill.
I was going to say, sometimes we sell things that are super easy to sell, and then sometimes we sell things that require a little bit of explanation. If you care about your grill or you invested in your grill, you need to hit up Eric at the NC Grill Rescue. Go to ncgrillrescue.com and you will see the process that they go through. Like, you don't want to eat off your grill, but you can.
You can
after. Yeah. Like, I'm talking about like opening up the lid and just like
eating right there,
because that's how clean it gets. And I also don't know about you, but I know my grill. I know my hot spots, right? So my problem is I buy cheap grills. I just buy a new one, but I get mad because I know where the hot spots are. So I'd rather just clean that thing and know where everything is rather than trying to do the whole process over again every summer. So again, give Eric and his crew, hit them up, ncgrillrescue.com.
The After Darks are back next week. We'll have an After Dark for the NC State ECU game. We'll have an After Dark for the TCU UNC game.
We got a double dark.
The After Darks are brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Once again, hit them up, 919-980-9815. Bloomin' Blinds will give you 10% when you get 10 window treatments or more. Goes beyond your house, by the way. You got a small office. You've got like a conference room. You're trying to have a mid-afternoon meeting, and that sun's just like right baking into your eyeballs. Well, contact Chris, and you can get the shades to come down and impress clients while you're at it. We've all been there. So contact them today. 919-980-9815. Bloomin' Blinds, ladies and gentlemen. I think I gave Giglio his own PTSD by talking about meetings in a conference room. All right, what was your immediate takeaway with our conversation with Bubba Cunningham?
I find the basketball building conversation to be interesting in the sense that he's not telling us he knows more than he's letting on.
Yes, I agree.
Because this is something that he's worked on for a long time and talked about for a long time. And I get it. You have to build consensus and you got to do all of those things. But the truth of the matter is, and I would have pointed this out if I didn't feel like we were already taking up too much of his time. I believe in terms of basketball revenue, number one is Kentucky, and either Syracuse or Carolina are number two. Syracuse obviously has the capacity at the Dome is greater than the Smith Center.
Yeah.
When I said they're leaving money on the table, that doesn't mean they don't have that doesn't mean they're not doing well. It's just the modern amenities. They're basically they are playing in a 1986 arena.
Yeah,
like think about it. There's no NBA team that's playing in a 1986 arena anymore, and they need to think of themselves as an NBA team. Maybe Bill Belichick can say they're the 31st NBA team. But the truth of the matter is, they have the kind of fan base that will invest in those higher end amenities. I've been to Louisville with Bubba Cunningham. And quite frankly, I don't know if you've ever been to a Louisville's arena or not.
I have not. It's on my list.
It is ching.
Oh yeah. I've heard nothing but top notch.
Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's and they're a college. That's not an NBA building. Okay. Right. So that's the kind of thing that they need to put the money into. And they are literally leaving money on the table. And I've also been to Tennessee with Carolina, and Tennessee knocked everything down and then built everything up within the structure of their on-campus arena.
Yeah.
And I think, they've had that kind of talk, but because of there's a bedrock issue and some other stuff at the Smith Center.
Mm-hmm.
And note during that interview, I never called it the Smith Center, and neither did he.
Oh, they're not going to call it the Smith
Because
Center.
you sold it. Well, the guy you just hired is from NASCAR.
They're going to sell it.
And they're going to sell. That's
Yes.
going to be the Wells Fargo or whoever bank of
they're
their
going to sell
choice.
it. Yeah, they're
Right?
going to sell it. It's going to be the Corona Dome for all I know.
Well, hopefully, Dean, the ghost of Dean,
Yeah, no,
won't let him call it a
that
beer.
That ship
Not
sailed,
a beer.
dude.
Not a beer.
I mean, that ship sailed. But I get what you're saying.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't feel like he was as, when he was saying, "Oh, there's still options. There's still options." It's like, no. Like it's go time.
Yeah, that's why
that project.
That's why I stepped in and I said, look, everything that you're laying out about where UNC athletics needs to go screams Carolina North. This is not complicated unless we get to the other takeaway that I had is that I don't think Bubba gets enough credit for navigating the politics at UNC. Every school has politics. Okay.
Hey, Kevin Guskowitz is at Michigan State. He could have gone to Michigan State with him. So.
Every school has politics. I'm not acting as though UNC is somehow unique in this stuff. But I think we all recognize that you have to be able to, all politics is local, like they like to say. You have to be able to navigate an even trickier dynamic at UNC because you have a lot of power players that want a piece of the direction of where things are going, on top of this pull that really this area is something that Luke DeCock and I talked about while you're out of town in relation to Tom Dundon, and that you have a lot of people who don't want to advance. They think there's nothing wrong with the Smith Center. I've had my seats for 30 years. I mean, like all that kind of stuff. I want to urinate in the trough. Okay. Like all those things. That's a real thing for the olds out there. And you have to navigate all that kind of stuff. And you can't be, if you're a UNC fan and you're already annoyed about how Duke is going about their business, stop looking at Duke. Let's look at two other schools that are actually going to be way more advanced in this multi-use stuff than you are. NC State, with what's going on with Tom Dundon and at the arena. And you're saying, well, that's a Dundon thing. Fine. All right. You know what? I'll give it to you. That's a Dundon thing. It's NC State will probably fumble the bag on that one because that's what NC State tends to do. You know who else is doing this? Wake effing Forest. They're going, I forgot what they're calling Deke. It's like Deke Town or whatever it is. But it's yet another one of these multi-use facilities that brings revenue to their football events and basketball events. You can't be left behind by Wake Forest when it comes to this kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
So I think the Carolina North thing is a no-brainer, but I get why Bubba Cunningham is kind of, couching it the way that he is. But then the other takeaway that I had in relation to the conversation is I agree that we have to wait and see where the financial model goes and what other conferences do to copy what the ACC did with this uneven revenue share. Something that I was very adamant against, but I understand the thoughts behind it because of where things are going. And the one thing that Bubba understands, not only access to the college football playoff, because we don't know what it's going to look like, but more importantly, we're seeing a retrenchment in investment from sports television. And we don't know what these deals are going to look like once we get to 2030. And I think a lot of schools are going to be smart about what works for them. And if you think, well, what works for you is to join the bigger conference, maybe not, because we don't know what these television deals are going to look like. So I can envision a scenario where nothing really happens in 2030 because football does its own thing and the television deals kind of come back a little bit and you have to find more interesting ways to make money, which is what Carolina's in the process of doing.
I think Bubba's more pragmatic about the future of college sports than most people.
Yes,
his peers included. I just think the problem with a realignment and a breaking away and some of this other stuff is it means the conferences have to give up the money. The conferences then have to give up control of those television contracts. I don't see that happening personally. Okay. Even though I think it is the more pragmatic answer. You remember the think tank that he was a part of that created, different groups that were more geographically aligned and made more sense and a lot of these other things for 2030 and beyond. I thought that was an interesting answer. I do wonder if it's his mindset, and he can't answer for other people.
No.
But I think his mindset is, let's see what happens. I think at Carolina, speaking of those politics, I think they're more looking at the hard charging to the SEC.
Well,
as opposed to, again,
That's why I brought up 2024 with John Pryor and calling out Bubba and the budget and all that kind of stuff, because those are the hard charging people that want to get the hell out.
We've only met Steve Newmark once. Seems like a very super nice guy. All those things. Grew up in Chapel Hill. Whatever you want to say. He negotiated part of the SEC's television contract. He was also at NASCAR selling sponsorships. Like, I get why they hired him, but you also didn't hire him to be Bubba or John Swafford.
No,
you hired him to be the new guy, and we've seen this time and time again.
Well, the new guy,
the new guy's going to have ideas.
The new guy to do what? Because let's look at the Carolina Hurricanes. Okay, the Carolina Hurricanes split one job into two,
three.
Well, you're right.
You have Tulsky is the actual GM. You have Doug Borf as the president of the arena, essentially, and then Brian Fork special projects.
I'm going to take Tulsky out of it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say you still needed a GM. Don just happened to do 3 jobs.
So what's happening at Carolina with Bubba and Steve?
Yes,
is very similar to what happened with the Canes, in that you have to have specialized roles for these specialized projects. I envision that Bubba's special projects, when he's in the basement with the stapler, is twofold. Carolina North, much like Doug's job is to make sure that arena is making some freaking money.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously the big project, which is exploring, because you said he's a pragmatic guy. He's on these think tanks. He's seeing where college is going. He's a point person for where college football is going. So if he's still in that role, he can still help guide North Carolina where it's going. I view Steve more like I feel like Bubba is like Brian Fork, and then I'm going for the big project. I'm going for Major League Baseball. I'm doing all this other kind of stuff. Steve is more of a Doug role, where I'm here to make sure that all the sponsorships are right. We're making the money that we need to, as Whit Babcock said, have the resources that match our expectations.
I look at it this way. I think Bubba said this with Jones and Adam. The general managers are now essentially the sports-specific athletic directors.
Fair.
Okay. The schedule, the roster, all those things, all of the things that an associate AD used to do is now handled by the general manager, with the included duty of obviously contract negotiations. I think Steve is going to be the guy who spearheads the SEC move and the sponsorships. Okay. I think Bubba's job ultimately becomes, what do we do with the basketball building? Because I'll say it again. There's certain fan base, like NC State, ain't no doctors, ain't no lawyers. Okay. I mean, yeah, there's a few of them, but they don't have a law school. They don't have a medical school.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Carolina's got stacks on stacks. All of those bunker suites and all the other happy horse shit that the Hurricanes can or can't sell, you're selling all of those in the first 2 hours of them being on sale for Carolina basketball. Now, that probably is going to require a coaching change. And I thought his answer about Hubert and where Hubert is was telling. The consistency.
We all know.
No, but I'm saying he's saying it. The consistency is, again, I look at it and I say, well, these are the good things you've done. What's the problem? And their fan base and Bubba's even seeing it as, it's not the good things that we've done,
but you're not even,
it's the lack of consistency.
You're also not even listening to yourself when it comes to Hubert Davis. Nothing here happens in a vacuum.
Right.
And as much, this is something that I will continue to say, as much as you can go back to the Final Four, I have maintained that it was the best thing that ever could have happened to John Shire. And they have come out of the gate running hot while Carolina is still talking about the Final Four. You see what I'm getting at?
Yep.
So nothing happens. I'm using your own thing. Yeah. Nothing happens in a vacuum. So you have to see what Duke's doing, and that absolutely plays into what's going on with Hubert Davis, man. Absolutely plays in. So it's pretty interesting. And of course, Bubba's going to be the AD when these decisions are made. Theoretically.
I do not think that will be his decision.
Interesting.
Because if Steve was on this advisory committee to get
to with Belichick, yeah,
I think the power. Look, I think this worked. I'm not trying to insinuate that there's anything nefarious going on behind the scenes working against Bubba Cunningham. I'm not. But I think they went with Steve because he probably helped them more to get Belichick than who's ever letting on, right?
Yeah,
Again, about the credit game. And then I think the SEC combo, like in my head, you already know where I'm going with this. I think Nate Oates should be Carolina's next basketball coach.
Mhm.
And I called this shot, and I can't wait for it to come home because I do think it will come home. I don't know if you've seen what's happening with Alabama basketball this year, but apparently their NIL money is all of a sudden weird. It's like, wait a second, we're gonna dedicate a bunch of all of our resources to Alabama football. What?
Shocking.
What?
Shocking. And as we laid out with Bubba Cunningham, because they understand basketball is a revenue generator for them, the allotment between football and basketball
A lot closer.
is a lot closer than you're seeing at other places.
Yes.
Specifically,
Any SEC school.
any SEC school.
So I think ultimately you'll see. I think that will be, and that'll be obviously Steve's big chance to make his first splash. So
that'll be the case. Big thanks to our friends at Longleaf Swine. You can check them out at longleafswine.com. They carry OG Light, which is a bonus. They have a wonderful brunch menu on Sundays that I highly recommend you check out.
Anything with the brisket, man. Anything.
I have a feeling I'll be there on Sunday after the Sports Podcast Festival to soak up all of the OG Light. And then I go a little hair of the dog the next day with some OG Light and maybe chase it with some bourbon because they have an excellent bourbon selection as well at Longleaf Swine.
Off the charts.
Off the charts stuff. So go check them out, longleafswine.com. Or, you know what? Make it a date night. Go out on a Friday night, go to Longleaf Swan, and then go hit my home base, the Two Roosters there on Person Street, tworoosters.com. They've got their All-Star Series going on right now. They're bringing back all the best flavors. That's our next goal. I want our flavor to be in the All-Star Series the next time there is one.
Okay.
Bring back the peanut butter salted fudge madness. And that way we can bring the cardboard cutout out again.
Ooh,
that'd be a good idea.
it's in my garage right now.
That's good stuff. So go to tworoosters.com. You can see their rotating flavors. It's all fantastic stuff. Maybe you love Two Roosters so much that you go to our friends at Hometown Realty and you say, hey guys, I have a very specific request. I need a house that's near Two Roosters.
Ooh.
And they're like, we got you, fam.
That might not be good for me, but
So you don't need to have a freezer. You can just keep walking to Two Roosters.
I know.
So go to my.
I guess if I walk there, it'll be.
That's right. You're burning calories.
It'll be okay.
It's like when my dad goes on a walk. He always loses 10 pounds every time. You know, I lost 10 pounds this week. I go, really? Interesting. I went on a walk. Oh, ain't that something? myhtr.com. Tell them I want to live next to a Two Roosters. We got you, fam. Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. And when you get that house, make sure you call our friends at State Farm in Garner. Matt Davis can help you save money. 919-779-8277. InsureGarner.com is the website. You might think you are saving money. Like, I got a good interest rate. I got good insurance rates. It's all good. Do you though? Do you? Are you sure? There's only one way to find out, and that is to call Matt Davis. 919-779-8277. All right, let's get into some NFL matters, shall we? There's two Carolina Panthers topics that I find interesting. The first one is related to Trey Hendrickson. You brought it up with our friend Jonathan Alexander of the Houston Chronicle when we talked to him on Monday, and that has not gone away. The Bengals are currently in a contract dispute with Trey Hendrickson. This is once again an example of example number 380 of how the Cincinnati Bengals are a cheap organization. We kind of know how they operate. So yes, Trey Hendrickson, either you're going to get traded, I doubt it, or you're going to have to wait until some point in the season with the Bengals starting slow anyway, like they typically do, that you'll eventually sign the dotted line and off you go. Now, what does this have to do with the Panthers? Well, Panthers fans, as want to do online, and those who cover the Panthers, like our friend Mike Kay at the Charlotte Observer or Julian Council at Locked On, they have brought up the possibility of Trey Hendrickson getting traded to, or the Panthers being in play to trade for Trey Hendrickson. And this is where I have to say, hold up. Let's dial it back a little bit. Let's strip away the football reasons. He's a 4-3 guy moving to a 3-4 team. Interesting. And you already don't like the defensive coordinator in Carolina. So What are you going to do there? So let's strip away the football stuff, because I think this actually leads to a larger conversation about the Panthers. Joe, are the Panthers one defensive Pro Bowler away from making a deep playoff run? Like, they just need this one guy to fit him in there, and this is it. We're just one player away from truly making a deep playoff run. Is that the case?
Probably not.
No. I'm not even going to go probably not. I'm going to straight up tell you no.
Well, I only say probably not because it's not Trey Hendrickson. But if you throw Micah Parsons out there, Micah Parsons is a true difference maker. He is the best defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah.
He is a Cam Newton type player where one guy can not only make a shit ton of plays, but rises the level of everybody else on that defense.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but what I would preach here is the Carolina Panthers are still a year away from truly beginning what could be sustained success, which is something the Carolina Panthers have been chasing for a very, very long time. I mean, even with the Ron Rivera era, remember, it wasn't like they were perennial playoff teams.
No, they've never had consecutive winning seasons.
Okay. So they're very much in a weird, we've seen this before. This is the second Carolina Hurricanes reference. They're very much in a Carolina Hurricanes mode before Rod Brindamore and Tom Dundon, went Wonder Twins here, and they've had the sustained playoff success. The Panthers are too focused, in my opinion, and should be too focused on repairing the compounding mistakes over multiple regimes that got them to this point. We'll get to some quarterback stuff in a bit, but the main goals are to see if you actually have something in Bryce Young so that you don't have to hit the reset button again. And I think they do. I don't think he's a bust. He's never going to be he's not going to be the number one pick value, but it looks like you have something there. Cool. Build around that and then continue to rebuild the defense that has been decimated by, again, compounding mistakes through multiple regimes in the front office under David Tepper. Going after Trey Hendrickson to throw him that amount of money at that age does not line up with what you're actually trying to do. Now, the second part of the Panthers conversation, and maybe this has happened after two preseason games. You can tell me all day that the joint practices were great, right? Controlled environments and things like that. But all we've seen is two preseason games that have been underwhelming. I've focused more on the defensive side than anything else. But I will say this, and I will say this where fans have the right to be annoyed at Dave Canales. We were told that we would see more of the starters play in the preseason, especially on offense. We have not seen that. We saw 2 series against Houston, and he yanked them, and the reason given was, well, they didn't earn another series. Typically, if it's the other way around, it's like, no, go back out there.
Right.
Go back out there. They didn't do that, and now they're not going to play a single starter on Thursday, which is what we expected. So this is why the vibes have suddenly turned on the Panthers, and that what we have seen has not been great in the preseason. Now, I know some of you might jump in the comments, or I might get an email to say, hey, man, it's just the preseason, chill out. Okay, I'll grant you that. But so were the context clues around the end of last season, and it doesn't really line up with all of this. We've got this war machine, like you like to say, that's going into the start of this football season. This is still very much a fragile organization that is a few injuries away on the defense from an already defense from having the wheels fall off, and we're right back into the doom spiral.
This is a super important reminder of a undefeated Giglio axiom.
Yeah.
This year does not begin where last year ended.
Mm-hmm.
In football more than any other sport. So you might be out there with some lotion and a box of Kleenex and some crusty socks, rewatching that Falcons game, thinking to yourself, here's what my team's going to look like in week 1.
Yeah.
I've got really bad news for you. It's not how it works. Football is a rhythm sport. And you got to get into rhythm. And it's hard to get into rhythm in an off season. I will say this, though, for off season, the NFL this year in particular, preseason as well.
Yeah.
I think football is now recovered from the pandemic. Because the pandemic, I think, hurt offenses really more than anybody else.
Yeah, I agree.
The ability to practice and get together in the off season and get your timing and all those other things. I think last year, I thought the beginning of the NFL season was as slow as I can remember.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about weeks 1, 2, and 3. I'm talking like 8, 9, and 10, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really was until that end of the year where you started looking and going, oh, okay. I see it now. Even the Bengals took all of that time last year to get rolling. Even the Eagles, where you're like, early, remember early?
Nick Sirianni was going to get fired.
Yeah, remember early?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I feel like NFL teams as at large are further ahead right now than they've been at any point since the pandemic.
That's fair.
Offensively, I think it's going to make for a much more interesting NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, though, to these questions about where the Panthers are this preseason, I'm watching that Washington-Cincinnati game the other day. Jaden Daniels is out there cooking.
He is.
Joe Burrow is out there, and it was pretty much the whole first half. I mean,
Joe Burrow was getting his ass chased around.
Right. Both of those starters were out there running. The offense was out there running. And you're sitting here going, okay, because you got to get those reps.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to replace those reps.
And I don't understand why.
them.
I don't understand why they didn't get more reps.
And you're like, oh, I got it in practice. I did this.
And that's
but practices are controlled.
Yes.
You know, it's not in this setting. There's not the clock. There's not all the things going on in your head. Those are the kind of reps that you need. The comfort level that Bryce Young showed in week 18, you only get there by all of the steps along the way.
Yes.
And you can't skip those steps. And I think that's kind of important and you'll see it illustrated in full color when we see ECU and NC State next Thursday. You're going to be like, oh man, I was just at this game. And you're going to be like, oh, wait a second.
Totally different.
They are not caught up to speed yet.
Oh, they're not starting the game with a fight? Oh, oh wait, I hit the wrong button. All right. Speaking of quarterbacks, you could have Anthony Richardson. Remember the scratch-off ticket?
That's the thing about scratch-offs. You could pay them off big, but the great thing about scratch-offs is there's always another one.
I guess so. Daniel Jones was named the starter in Indy, which I was like, oh, well, interesting. I guess the Anthony Richardson reboot isn't actually happening. Now, if we're going Daniel Jones and you're already talking about scratch-offs, this gets me to something that I saw you tweet overnight.
I was going to say, please pull it up.
You've got nobody believes Daniel Jones is a worthy starter. Stephen A. You're pointing that out. Agent unsure about Richardson's future with Colts. So I see this.
No, go back. You got to scroll down on the other side. Scroll down.
Oh, scroll down. Oh, Texas QB Manning says future plans still unclear. Oh, well, that's what I was getting at. So what you're referencing here.
I took this yesterday before they announced this, by the way.
So you took the Colts plus 1,700 for fewest regular season wins.
Basically, to have the worst record in the NFL.
Because you think
they're tanking on purpose. Yeah, I think they're tanking on purpose. Why else would you start Daniel Jones in 2025?
Because you can't go back to Anthony Richardson. I don't think it's that complicated. After all last year's drama, and he's not balling out to justify all the drama from last year, you can't lose the locker room, so you're going to Daniel Jones.
Did you see the Giants last year?
I get that.
They fucking cut the guy.
See, to me,
they cut him.
I know.
They didn't just bench him. They cut him.
I understand that. But you also have to handle the Anthony Richardson thing with kid gloves, especially when you got Pat McAfee out there running the opinions on that matters.
Implies, though, Joe, that Daniel Jones was the only option.
Fair.
They picked up Daniel Jones specifically to tank.
Joe Flacco was named a starter this week, too.
Joe Flacco led a team to the playoffs just in 2023.
Which is weird.
Joe Flacco played for the Colts last year. Joe Flacco was too good for the Colts last year.
This is true.
That's why they got rid of him, because they don't want to win. They don't want to go 7-10. They want to go 3-14 and take Arch Manning.
Which is
because the Colts are like the fucking Packers. They are kissed by the stars. So
you want another generational talent to quit?
I've got Peyton Manning. What will I ever do? I'll win the first pick again, and I'll take Andrew Luck. It's just that easy.
And what they do with Andrew Luck?
Well,
they made life so miserable for him that he quit.
Poor Andrew Luck.
And I don't blame him.
He's still going through it.
I don't blame him though.
But like
that's what an organization will do to you.
The Packers with their happy horse shit at quarterback. It's like some franchises. Look at the Browns. They can't get a quarterback to save their life. Meanwhile, the Colts and Packers are like, "What do you mean?
What's the problem?
Just beat Clemson."
Well, what would you rather be? Would you rather be the Browns, which you know what you're getting, like another quarterback that we're going to ruin, or the Colts and the Green Bay Packers who get kissed and they still can't do anything with it? Because you're bringing up the Green Bay Packers and the Colts, and I ask you, okay, so they got Jordan Love. What have they done with Jordan Love?
Jordan Love's early in his arc, but they did win a Super Bowl with Favre. They won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. The Colts won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning.
Okay.
And then
Speaking of Manning.
luck ran out of juice.
Speaking of Manning. The March for Arch.
Yes.
So you're telling me that the guy, Steve Sarkisian, would not start over Quinn Ewers, who was drafted where?
Where did Ewers end up going?
I totally forgot.
Late, fourth, fifth round.
Okay. So you're telling?
Oh God, he was playing for somebody I was betting on the other day.
Oh, nice.
The Dolphins.
So I didn't know. I can't even remember. So you're telling me
I had the over, and I was like, buddy, you got to get out of the game.
You're telling me that that Arch Manning, the guy that everybody wants with the number 1 pick in the draft, we're gonna have the March for Arch, could not beat out Quinn Ewers? Is that coaching malpractice? Why is Steve Sarkisian still the coach of Texas if Arch Manning is this generational talent that everybody has to have, and he didn't even start last year? He came in spot 30. I think he has a total of 95 attempts in 2 years of college play.
I was tweeting this in real time during the game they lost to Ohio State. They should have benched him again in the previous playoff game.
Fair,
to be perfectly honest with you,
because we've seen this
Sarkisian
before. We've seen
is
this
not
before. We saw
Saban.
We saw this Kelly
Saban
Bryant.
did it. No, Saban was the original. He benched Jalen Hurts at halftime of a championship game for Tua Tagovailoa, who never played before.
I understand.
Okay, at least Trevor Lawrence played some, like Dabo, but
Kelly Bryant took him to a freaking college football playoff.
But hey, this is what separates the all-timers from just guys who are really good X and O coaches.
Yeah,
I think Steve Sarkisian's a really good X and O coach, but they absolutely should have won the. Texas should have won the national championship in 2023. They should have won the national championship in 2024. They got there, but these are the things. These are the differences.
Let me ask you this. If his name was Arch Smith.
Yes, because he can run. See, the element that was missing from Texas's offense last year was their skill players. Remember, their skill players in 2023, they all got drafted in the first 2 rounds. Okay? Last year, they had one guy taking a receiver who was like a transfer from like Tulsa or some shit.
Yeah.
He really wasn't that good. This year, when you don't have the super skill players around you, a la Alabama, then you got to be able to run the football as a quarterback. You have to be a running option. Arch can run the football.
I am an Arch Manning skeptic.
That's fine.
I'm an Arch Manning skeptic. I don't mind being proven wrong here, but I do think there are some elements to the fact that his last name is Manning.
Oh, there's no doubt. But
football royalty, people are hooked on all things Manning. They've got their own production company, so they're all over ESPN anyway.
Right.
And what Manning was referring to about his QB plans is related to what his grandfather said a couple of weeks ago when he said, oh, no, he's not guaranteed to go to the NFL. And, of course, Arch Manning's like, hey, Grandpops, why don't you settle down, buddy? All right, last item in the NFL Lightning Round. Can we give Dallas Cowboy fans a break? Can we just give them a break? Every time I tune in to ESPN, there is some Jerry Jones topic. This morning it was, does Jerry Jones care about winning? We already know the answer to that. No, because his version of winning is this, you talking about them. But this is not about Jerry Jones. This is not about whether or not the Dallas Cowboys matter. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys matter because you still talk about them. But can we just stop shitting on Cowboys fans? That's all I ask.
Okay.
If you're still a Cowboys fan in 2025, you should actually get credit. It actually kind of ties to what Bubba said about the Cubs. Nobody made money off losing like the Cubs. So maybe the Cowboys are the new Cubs. I don't know. But Cowboys fans know they suck. So you don't have to keep telling them they suck. You don't have to keep telling Dallas Cowboys fans, oh, Jerry Jones. They know this.
Yeah.
So give Cowboys fans a break, because the way I see it, if you're still rocking Cowboys gear in 2025, you're a real one, man. Because they've given you every reason to just jump. Because this is not like the Jets, okay? Because if the Jets show any signs of life, all of a sudden you find out, oh, man, I had no idea this many Jets fans existed. Because you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And this has nothing to do with Adam Gold radio scars. I'm talking about anytime the Jets show signs of life. It's like, oh, yeah, no, I've been a Jets. Oh, yeah, the Jets are this. No. You ain't proud about it. You ain't out and proud about that 365 days a year. Cowboys fans are. And they have no reason to. So you should actually get them. I want to say Cowboys ain't for soft people. They're not. You think I'm crazy?
it's hard for me at 50 to process what you're saying, but I've seen these videos of women saying, like, if something's happened for the last 30 years, I'll find one for you and I'll send it to you.
Please send it to me.
And the husband's like, well, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Then if you're saying this result has happened every year for the last 30 years, well, then
right.
of course.
Yes.
Then she's like, well, why do you think the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl?
Right. Because everybody wants to make fun of Cowboys fans. Just let them live, man. Jeez. Constantly shitting on Cowboys fans. Big thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Oh, you thought we were entering the fall? Oh, no. We had our false fall. It's back to being humid and gross and thunderstorms and everything else. That is all leading to mosquito breeding. So you can get a handle on that by contacting our friends at bugsbite.com. Also take care of the inside of your house. This is prime roach time. Get a handle on those roaches. Make sure you don't have some like weird infestation or something like that. Our friends can help you out. They can do other things too, like moisture barriers, misting systems for your patio, so you're ready to go in the dog days of summer and get ready for next summer. It's all at bugsbite.com. You also want to make sure that you're outside mosquito free because you want to grill. And if you're going to grill, you're going to need to go to the butcher's market and throw some of their goodness on the grill. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com. I suggest if you're near the Millbrook Falls location, you go get the Gleazy. It's a brisket hot dog. Has its own sauce. It's really, really good stuff. I made a cold cut sandwich the other day. Put the Gleazy sauce on it. It hit. It was good stuff. So that's that location, but they got locations all over the triangle.
I've never heard that before. Cold cut sandwich? You mean like an Italian sandwich?
It was like turkey.
Then just say turkey.
They were cold cuts.
You and your sweaters. Add that to the list of your anachronisms.
Yeah, fine. So be it. Anyway, go to the butcher's market. They got cold cuts there, by the way.
Did they?
Hey, how do you think they make their sandwiches?
Okay.
Just saying, they got cold cuts.
You know more about their options than I do. I get caught up on one thing and it's over.
Do I need to go to Whitaker and Hamer and get legal advice as to whether or not what I described was a cold cut?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe the ruckus?
Hey, we got to get Josh on here to talk about the legality of getting tickets based on a photo. The fuck out of here,
you're
Maryland.
mad about that.
Maryland,
about
Delaware.
That. So anyway, go to Whitaker and Hamer.
off.
WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer.
All right.
You know, I made a mistake. I went on my Cowboys. Don't shit on Cowboys fans rant while Gordon Miller Lending was sitting there in the hopper waiting to talk about interest rates as he's wearing his Detroit Lions, right?
I mean,
being a Detroit Lions fan ain't for soft people, Gordon.
68 years. 68 years between championships. I would love to be America's team for like 1 year.
What are you talking about? You've been America's team.
We are?
With your coach and his kneecaps and people rooting for Detroit and stuff like that. You've actually like low-key been a fan favorite. People want Detroit to succeed, man.
Because after Sunday night and the thrashing of the Bills, apparently the Bears are going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. So,
I see.
It's trouble. It's another long football season ahead. I know it.
Good stuff. All right. So my brother, I was in Orlando and went to Epic Universe with my brother. And we ended up going later that night. We went to this place called Permanent Vacation. It's a tiki bar. And I don't know, maybe I had one too many rum drinks. I could not explain to him how you're different than getting a mortgage from somebody else. I think it was the rum drinks. So he's like, okay, so explain to me how the whole Miller Lending thing works. Like, you're just paying a higher rate. I'm like, no, David, no. So Gordon, please explain to the masses while I'm now sober without rum drinks.
Take some notes.
How this works so I can take some notes.
So explain this as if I'm talking to Jacob.
Yes.
Okay.
To a 14-year-old who's a trash gremlin at this point in time, who's leaving banana peels on the counter and various other stuff.
Yeah, perfect. So the theme behind Miller Lending and what we've done for years is, and it's very easy to explain, and it's the opposite of what your friend asked. We lend on just the truest form of an interest rate. That's it. 50 years ago, you probably just, your grandfather went to a bank, signed the papers. Here's the rate. That was it. There was nothing like these games that go on today where every rate has closing costs associated with it. So what we see a lot of is 5.99 rates, but then, $15,000, $20,000 worth of closing cost. And the problem there lies is that pretty much the majority of folks think rates are going to be lower coming up over the next year. So why would you pay a bunch of closing costs to lock in a rate today only to have it drop in the next year or two? That's the real principle behind a no closing cost loan is it benefits the consumer. It might be the only mortgage that benefits the consumer because it allows you to skip timing. If your timing is bad, you close, you pay nothing. Rates come down 7 months later, you refinance again. That's the reason why your audience by now knows that you've refinanced Joe more than once. Because you get in, value goes up, you drop PMI. Rates go down, you drop the rate. It's the flexibility of a mortgage without being locked in. Nobody in their right mind anymore keeps a mortgage more than 10, 12 years. So to go ahead and pay, and then my fellow loan officers will tell you that over 30 years, it costs a whole lot more than if I bought the rate down today. I don't know anyone who's had a mortgage burning party after year 30. So it's never really made sense to pay cost.
Also,
So
to clarify,
yeah,
things,
very, very simple. Nothing at all.
every time that I've refinanced, the term goes down with it, right? So when I initially bought a house, it was a 30-year loan, right? But ever since I've refinanced, I've gotten it down to, I think the last one that I got it down to was because I did it in 2020. So it got it down to a 20-year, right? So you're just not
Right.
resetting every 30. You could do 20, you could do 15, all that kind of stuff as you go along when you refinance, right?
Yeah, the mistake that some people have assumed, and boy, can I tell you that X, formerly Twitter, is such a great place for me to learn what people really don't know. It's a bastion of misinformation. So the argument I had last week was with someone who was a real estate national expert who made the claim that the problem with refinancing every year or 2 years is that you're going to reset the loan term back to 360 months, and it just wasn't true. For anybody who goes back a few years and watched some lousy commercials talking about a mortgage, cute little name for determining what your loan term would be. If you want to make your loan term 27 years and 9 months, great. We're not going to stop you. So it's, the one misnomer about, resetting back to 30 years and, how that's not to your benefit, that's not true. The other that you're paying more is not true because you're not paying any cost associated with getting the mortgage. So who would honestly say, hey, Joe, the rate today, they're at 6.5, but can I got 38 grand. Can I get 5 3/4? It just, the whole concept never made sense. We've been doing these since 1987. We've closed thousands of these and opened up in 4 other states now. So anyone watching this from Michigan or Virginia or South Carolina or Ohio, by all means, come to our website. And if you go ahead and fill out a rate request, and we just locked someone this week that was a listener of the show. And when they close, we've got this great Raleigh wine gift basket that we provide. Please do note that it's from the OG, as it separates from the standard no cost we do. And this is it's an extremely nice gift basket. It's not just a swimsuit, calendar of the OG guys.
Although we're thinking about that. In the meantime,
I know we've had that talk before. I know. I don't even want royalties if that calendar comes out. No, you're
going to be in it, Gordon. You're going to be in it. We're also doing a roadmap.
I've got a picture from 35 years ago when I was modeling. Not now. We're not doing this now. Your show will be canceled if we did that today.
Fair enough. But yeah, we're also on top of going to millerlending.com/theog. Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket when you take that thing to close, but there's a row back in it for you as well. As we highlighted earlier, they've been dropping some heaters here, so you might want to get on that. So go to millerlending.com/theog and go root for America's team, the real America's team, the Detroit Lions. Right?
3 weeks to kick off. Yep, Joe, you ready? We're going to be talking about this.
And if the Lions,
my other Joe, Joe G and I will be figuring this one out.
Yeah, you guys will be up in Danville. And if the Lions stink, I know what you will be focused on. Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. Lions, I know what's up.
Don't jinx the Lions.
Don't leave out Aaron Glenn and the Jets.
Good point.
We got two teams to root for now.
All right, Gordon. We will talk to you later, man.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. As always, we go to the sports phone. The sports phone is brought to you by our friends at Nature's Relief. We will be at Nature's Relief tomorrow, where I think I'm going to save most of the social media dump for tomorrow because you'll have a seltzer of some sort. So you'll be in full giggle mode for some of the stuff that we get.
I'll have a chill tomorrow.
Which, by the way, my brother told me, he's like, can you get Giglio to not lose it? I'm like, no, man. Once he's gone, he's gone. It takes a while to come back.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this is from a 919. Hey, Joe, can you give some more information about the YouTube costs? Is it meant to replace the Founders Club? I think the year just ended for me on that. Or is it an addition just for YouTube? I listen through Spotify since I listen while I drive, so I don't watch the video feed. Are we re-upping the Founders fee? Thanks for all the great summer content. The quick answer to that is OG fans and the Founders Club and the previous model, that's dead.
Okay.
Dimitri and I had a hard conversation about where things were going. And it was like, not that we didn't have subscribers, just that it wasn't sustainable to go in the direction that we wanted to go in, like hiring people to write for the newsletter and things like that. So OG, like the original intent of OG fans, all that kind of stuff, that's gone. Okay. But there was still interest for what we would describe as premium content.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of ways to go about it. You have things like Patreon, but Patreon, Apple takes a cut of that. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Everybody always gets cut, Joe.
Of course. So we started kind of goofing around, where I started goofing around with the YouTube membership features, i.e., you pay us a monthly fee, you get a subset of things that are exclusive to you.
Yeah, so Google gets a cut.
Small cut. It's a smaller cut.
Yeah.
It's a smaller cut. So for $5, so OG Fans is gone. You should have gotten a refund. If the person from the 919 number did not get a refund from Dimitri, please contact us. We want to make sure that everybody's made whole on the cancellation of the original OG Fans. So this is a separate thing. And this is a YouTube focused thing. As I mentioned earlier, custom emoji sets. Obviously we get mailbag and business, and we'll see where things go from there. I have heard from people who listen to the audio only version of the podcast. Totally understand. And we are making free snippets available to the podcast for OG Business and the mailbag like we've always done. But I've looked at listening habits and where things are going, and a lot of people are utilizing the YouTube app as a way to just listen to audio as well. In fact, a lot of podcast listeners, there's all this talk about pivoting to video and all this kind of stuff. People still just use YouTube to have it on in the background.
Yeah.
And they're not watching the video. They're just using it as a podcast platform, plugging it into their phone or tying it into Bluetooth in their car, and that's how they do it. So if you're if you're part of the membership, you can still listen to us in your car. It just so happens that it comes through the YouTube app. That's all. So that's what we're going with. And again, the reason why we went with $5 is because that's what YouTube suggested from the comparables, follower base, engagement, and also, hey man, hopefully we can get more people to subscribe.
Yeah.
At $5 than we could for $13.
Sure.
So that's, it's all a math equation there. But really the way I kind of viewed it was you can't get anything for $5 these days.
No, you can't.
But you can get extra content from us for $5 a month. So just use the join button on the homepage of our YouTube channel, and you'll go from there.
I feel like this is also like a way of saying to people who really from May of 23 have been like, hey, how do I help?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the easiest way to do it.
And I'll be quite honest with you. Like you like to say, we build the plane as we're flying it. We probably haven't streamlined how to help us in the best possible way. We've had different efforts, red circle, this or that, whatever. Mm-hmm. And people have all been tremendous. And this is really finally a way in year 3 to say, okay,
here's what we're doing.
Everyone who wants, who can afford the $60 a year or $5 a month, everyone who can do that, there's probably about 300 of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
all of those people, if you could go to this spot,
This is where you do it.
this is now where we finally consolidated the best way. And I will also say this year, particularly at our golf tournament, and for this year, I'm very excited about this.
Mhm.
We're gonna have our first OG NIL people.
I'm excited about
One at Garner, not a Giglio, and one at Enloe, not an Ovies.
Love it.
So I'm excited about that. It's
Very
a
excited.
small little amount, but I like it. We're gonna help a little bit. So we are trying to help others.
All right. Before we get out of here, we've had some people talking to us have reached out about the shopping cart archery.
Yes, is that what we're calling it? Archery, shopping cart archery,
Shopping cart archery.
I
So
like that.
for those who missed it earlier in the week and part of Giglio's social media dump, he had sent me this one of these German TV shows where they had they had old ladies chucking shopping carts into the holster, into the corral. And I thought, well, why couldn't we do that? I mean, that sounds like a contest for us. I mean, golf tournaments, not everybody golfs, but everybody's chucked a shopping cart, right? So I'm thinking, I want to do this, but then again, there's other options. For instance, now that you've sent me these, I now get all sorts of this. So this is me at 3 a.m. watching Japanese industrial pizza trick shots. Dude chucked a frozen pizza from one apartment building to the other into a microwave. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn impressive. Here's another one that we got. This is another one that I found. Can't sleep, so I'm betting on German cast iron pan ping pong battle.
Haben 4.
So these two women with cast iron
Machen
pans.
die noch 2?
Look like they've ever
Ist das
been
Ding ja
used,
schon durch?
and now they're playing
Song?
ping pong with it.
I think you have to catch it, is what it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Und die extreme Geduld.
But
Good stuff.
obviously, you have the metal and the ball, and it's a lot harder than it looks, I think.
There's also I don't know. This is what you sent me. Do you want to do jockey only races somewhere?
This one made me
Se da la
fall out.
partida de la carrera de jinetes inmediatamente. José Ávila por dentro con Rodrigo Alonso. Están peleando la punta y abierto. Lo hace Adrián Tután.
Right.
Rodrigo Alonso por dentro, un cuerpo. El segundo lugar para Adrián Tután en línea con José Ávila. Y
That's not right.
I
That's not
mean,
right.
that was all about the post, wasn't it?
It
'Cause
was.
The inside post was going to win that thing. No matter
It
what.
was. And then finally, another contest idea. The Iowa State Fair is doing this. Maybe we could do it here shortly as the NC State Fair is coming up. The Iowa State Fair does husband calling competitions.
Bob! Hurry up! I don't want to be late. Bob, hurry! Bob! Robert Dean! Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! King! Yoo-hoo! Cuckoo! Cuckoo! The clock says... Daryl! Can you hear me? You get yourself in here right now. Come on. You know you're going to be late again, and you know that I want to get there on time. Roy?
You got to put the second lady on the board.
Do we want to do that around the fair? I think we can contact our friends at the fair to do a version of that. Husband calling? See, my dad does the my dad does the opposite. See, it's my mom does not do the husband calling. It's the other way around. And my dad's upstairs. He can't find something. And all of a sudden, I'm downstairs having coffee with my mom. And we're just having an enjoyable conversation. And all I hear, delay! 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 And then my mom, of course, rolls her eyes and she just trudges up. It's like, okay, you just can't. That's love, y'all.
Give me the second lady
It's
again.
not close to now. So if there's enough interest to do a shopping cart archery contest, I think we can put something together, bum rush a Food Lion, and do it.
Why not old school here and have like a what was the game on Nickelodeon?
I don't know.
The kids play Double Dare.
Double Dare.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
just
mean,
have
I didn't know
different
which one you're talking about.
Just have different competitions. One would be the husband calling. The other would be the shopping cart.
Oh,
Maybe a pizza throw.
Joe,
It'd be like a
where,
whole day.
This is
the
where
OG Olympics.
This is where we get into there's no new ideas. And you're going to radio this thing up.
Yes. We'll go to the parking lot by Anthony.
I remember having a meeting, speaking of meetings, with no bloom and blind shades. So I had that sun just like burning holes in my retina, right?
Yep.
We wanted to do the husband, boyfriend combine.
Yes.
Right? Like taking the
Yes.
trash out quickly, like that kind of stuff, right? And never got anywhere. But I do think we could do shopping cart archery. I mean, what's stopping us from going to like the Triangle Town Center Target
Now, we talked about this.
or the
Target-
Food Lion?
Target carts.
They're
those
plasticky, a little
plastic,
wonky.
I don't like that.
I still think that if we respect it, we can show up to the butcher's market and use their carts.
No, they have good carts, but they don't
do
have a
have good
corral.
carts.
They don't have a corral.
Yeah, they do.
No, you return them in the building.
Oh,
You don't leave the building.
there's
with
a
them.
corral. There's a corral outside the the Millbrook.
No, this
location.
is a Food Lion. There's got to be a pothole. There's got to be a cattywampus
It can't
wheel.
be. It
front
can't
wheel.
be Aldi because we don't have enough quarters.
No,
so
we don't.
We don't have enough.
And those
quarters to
things
do
are tanks, by the
that.
way.
Dude, there are tanks.
Those things
Yes.
are. Those things are just armored cars.
So if there's enough interest in this, we might do it.
I mean, there's plenty of interest.
All right. We might go viral. Who knows? Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. We'll be at Nature's Relief in Garner tomorrow.
Yes, Timber
starting
Drive.
2:00.
Yeah, come see us.
Come see us. It'll be a good time, and we'll get you ready for week 0.